All new Dr. Phil. He says pedophile hunters
We lost everything. I had a good income. Now I deliver newspapers.
ruined his life.
You're here to meet an underage girl.
Well, I was just gonna sing karaoke. They had a camera. They accused me of wanting to have sex with this person.
You said, I know a karaoke place that serves alcohol. They don't check for ID.
I don't think you should be talking to 15-year-olds.
I'd just like to ask the audience.
No, you don't. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Okay, yesterday I met Tony, Jesse, and Josh, 3 self-proclaimed pedophile hunters who admitted to spending their free time luring and confronting suspected child offenders, then live streaming the stings on social media for the public to see. Take a look.
A Minnesota group is exposing who they call child predators online.
You coming to meet with the child? He started the Facebook group Hunted and Confronted.
Don't talk to little girls, brother.
Live stream stings are now a thing.
It's a controversial type of gotcha vigilantism that many in law enforcement are just not in favor of.
My name's Tony. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. This is where we like to meet the predators. We've exposed about 27 predators. I'm a survivor myself.
Your motivation here is clear. You were a victim as a child, right?
Yes.
So it's cathartic for you to do this.
Yeah, it's almost like psychiatry, I guess you'd call it.
Is there a downside to this that you see?
There's been a few people that have popped up that do this that I think in it for the fame.
My name is Jesse, and I'm the founder of Hunted and Confronted. Going to be bust number 201. The whole point of this is to expose him.
Our target has shown up.
He is here. All right, guys, here we go. And how old are you?
20.
Did you bring condoms?
Yes.
How does this experience make you feel? About the size of an ant?
You're not fans of each other. What's your problem?
Dude's all in for the views. I mean, it's clear as day. I call it a crap show. I think it's a mockery of victims and survivors.
Well, you just think it's all for show.
I think it's all for show. I've heard him say, if I don't get 1,000 shares, we're not going to go live and expose this guy. It shouldn't matter how many people are watching.
You say you have cooperation of law enforcement. I found it hard to believe. So I did contact law enforcement in your area. Jesse does not have the skills or ability to successfully build a case against alleged predators. It would be better if Jesse left it to us to deal with this issue. What do you say about this?
What we do is educate and spread awareness, and we've worked our butts off, and I'm darn proud of our team.
What happens when the pedophile hunter and their family become the hunted?
I'm Josh from Predator Hunters USA. So the predator we're going to meet tonight is a 34-year-old male coming to meet with a 15-year-old child. So he thinks. I'm calling my wife and my children. Tell them I love them before I go on the exposure. It is dangerous, and you never know, you might not come home. I've been threatened before, and I'll be threatened again, I'm sure. But I would rather die than see another kid be molested.
How old were you when you were victimized?
I think it was 8.
Does that give you some sense of justice, some sense of balancing the scales?
It does.
So with public shaming, they can kill themselves? Do you ever worry about that kind of thing?
Is there a possibility it could happen? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But is there a possibility a child could get hurt if they were to show up to meet with that predator? Absolutely.
My next guest says a near-fatal sting caused him to quit pedophile hunting and quit it for good.
Check this out, parents. My name is Shane Coyle. You can subscribe to my page after tonight and get exclusive content of me exposing these child predators. I'm the one that jump-started this child predator movement in the United States. You know, this movement is an egotistically driven movement, and it needs to stop. I was definitely the first one to create the content that you see, the dialogue that they use.
Hey, where are you? I'm right by the Publix, baby.
I could sound like a little girl, and there's no decoys.
So where are you?
I've done 176 busts in several different states. Out of all of these child predator busts, no convictions. Everything that is being glorified online about exposing child predators is wrong. Jesse, Tony, Josh, these guys were trained by me. All of these guys are copying everything that I did, but these idiots went wild, man. Like, I'm talking crazy. I gave Tony the nickname Phony Blah. He just started extorting predators. There was one bust. There was a 70-something-year-old man there to meet a little girl. He took him to the ATM. We got a few $100 out of this old guy, and released him, let him go. I see a lot of myself in Jesse. Jesse got lost in the fame and the hate. This is so wrong what they're still doing because there's no police involvement. I stopped hunting these child predators nearly 2.5 months ago when I almost lost my life. You're here to meet somebody, correct? Do you want to know who I am? I'm the that's exposing you as a child predator. He went to leave, came back around full speed, and crashed into me. Go ahead, run me over. What? Go ahead, come on. I seen my kids' faces literally in those headlights. And enough's enough. If there's anything that I could say to these guys, look, man, it's got to stop.
Okay, Shane, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Phil.
I really appreciate it. You're here today to tell these three guests something. What is it?
It's madness. It's insane. Nobody is saving children. We're basically fueling our own vendettas against these, without explicit language, these predators, okay? Each and every single one of us that has done this has done the wrong thing. And I'm one of the worst ones out there because I was high 90% of the time. And I have accountability. And I know that I started it with a true passion in my heart, but that heart and that passion got twisted. The second money, fame, likes, shares, all of that stuff got involved. And it needs to stop because nobody's getting arrested. And if they are arrests, look at the numbers. They don't weigh out. You were in a parking lot, and some guy, you know, in his car, he speeds off. Then he turns around, and you say, yeah, you want to run over me? Go right ahead. Were you high then? Absolutely. Let's take a closer look at that. Go ahead, run me over, boy. Go ahead, come on.
You say, run me over, boy, go ahead. And he said, okay, he ran you over.
Yeah, he did. That was my last one. But it's something like that can happen every single time. The cops are the ones that need to do this.
So how badly were you hurt?
I ripped my rotator. I exaggerated it a little bit, too. Remember, Dr. Phil, I said I was high. I said, oh, there's a bone sticking out. I mean, likes, views, shares. It really was.
Well, Shane's unique talent of mimicking a girl's voice was so convincing to one alleged child predator that Shane convinced him to do something. Well, take a look.
This one's good.
58-year-old man trying to meet with a 15-year-old female. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I think I convinced this man to get a tattoo of what he thinks is my nickname. He thinks the 15-year-old female calls herself Tud, T-U-D.
So, will you get a tattoo with my name on it? I cried earlier. I was like, what? You promised me. I can't believe you did this. You didn't even do it? Are you gonna do it?
He said he would do it. So guess what? T-U-D should be on this man's arm. Okay?
Don't make any sudden movements. Don't make any fast moves. Guy, if you make a sudden fast movement, I'm going to defend myself. Okay. Okay? Number one, you're here to meet somebody, correct, Guy?
Yeah.
Okay, who are you here to meet?
I think her name's,
You look a little shocked, man.
I am. I don't know what's going on.
Can I take a look at your left arm?
Yeah.
What you got, man? Let me take a look. Don't make any sudden movements. I'm fully aware and I'm highly trained, bro. What's that? What is it?
Utterly stupid.
What is it?
T-U-D.
What's that stand for?
Ultimate decoy.
No, that stands for the ultimate decoy. You still with us? and Dr. Phil, I know I'm laughing.
Are you still with us, sweetheart? Are you still there?
Listen, as much as I'm laughing, Doc, it's still done under toxicity. And don't get me wrong, the ultimate decoy is going to be the rest of his life. And he was a predator. He was going to take a 15-year-old girl, but I'm not a cop. There's no conviction. And you know why there was no conviction? Because I wasn't highly trained like I claimed to every one of these predators.
Well, I've got someone from law enforcement here that is highly trained, and we're going to talk to him right after the break. If I have a daughter and I pick up her phone and read this, I got a problem.
Okay. You made the wrong choice that day.
And later,
I'm not offering her. At no point did I offer her alcohol. I'm not
You
saying,
make it a point to tell her that they don't check IDs on them.
Well, I knew a place. I knew a place.
Hey, hold on. Stop talking. If I need your help, I know right where you are. Well, I'm joined by Jesse, Tony, and Josh, who are among the most active pedophile hunters in the country right now. I'm also joined by Shane, who, despite claiming to have originated the phenomenon, says these guys should leave the hunting to the professionals. Well, my next guest is, in fact, a former FBI detective, law enforcement officer, and chief criminal investigator who has done a lot of the training. He's been through this for his entire career. Please welcome Steve Cardi. Steve, thank you so much for being here. Steve, first off, do you think they should be doing it or not?
Absolutely not, Dr. Phil.
And why not?
Well, there's no law enforcement agency in the country that wants you doing this, nor wants to work with you, because you're destroying their investigations. Police officers come on the job and they spend years before they're even considered for a job like this. It requires dedication, years of training, years of supervision. You're being watched very closely. You've got the rule of law. You've got the rule of evidence. You've got to prepare for the district attorney's office. You've got to prepare to present it to a grand jury. None of that can be accomplished by what you're doing.
And, you know, as I'm watching what's going on here, I'm concerned, and I don't mean to brag, but I'm not a lawyer. So I just look at this from a lay standpoint, but I'm thinking, I'm concerned about entrapment. I'm concerned about the chain of custody with evidence here. And when you go to these guys, what is said and not said may or may not fit the elements of the law of what needs to be done. How do you know what's their state of mind? It just seems to me that if you took one of these cases and took this video and attempted to prosecute it, a halfway decent criminal defense lawyer would just blow it full of holes.
The process with regard to what they're doing has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. And law enforcement can't work with them. They can't put a rubber stamp and say, you know, it's okay, give us the stuff and we'll... It can't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way, because law enforcement will find evidentiary problems. They're going to find that you probably have entrapped people. I mean, what is the training that your decoys go under? Some of your decoys may even be sexual predators themselves.
My thing is why is a New York City school teacher arrested and nobody else? If law enforcement won't work with us, why is it that guy was arrested and none other?
Because it's a public... Likely, he was arrested for violating his conditions, failure to report, but something other than what you did, except you turning him in.
Failure to report that he wouldn't be in a school.
Well, his point is, if we're going to leave it to law enforcement, why do they arrest this guy but not these other 19 that were not as high profile, because they're doing just as much damage as this guy? Why do they only want the collar that gets some ink and not these guys that are doing just as much damage? That's your question.
I was told by the FBI, I sat in the room with them, and they said, don't bother unless you get a guy that makes over $100,000 a year. He's an immigrant, a doctor, a teacher, or a lawyer. That says something. But if I call you guys and I say there's a guy selling dope on the corner, you're out there in a heartbeat. But there's a man to meet a child and nobody shows up.
Law enforcement's going after not only the high-hanging fruit, but the low-hanging fruit. If you bring a case to somebody that is assigned only to do high-profile cases, he'll refer it to somebody else. Law enforcement, if you dealt with an officer that blew you off, then you should report it to a supervisor. Go to the district attorney's office, go into the detective's precinct and talk to them and report it there. If you're not having satisfaction, the layman police officer
has no clue on what sexual predator investigations are involved with.
We used our followings to our advantage to try and get arrested. Each one of us have tried to get arrested. And when we said, we know we're not going to get arrested, we kept going. Problem is, I needed therapy myself, man.
Yeah.
Just to realize.
Yeah, no argument there. Some of these men who have been busted by certain vigilante groups have committed suicide or said their lives were ruined. Next, we're going to meet a man who says he and his wife lost everything thanks to one of these vigilante pedophile hunter groups. We'll be right back.
3 years ago, my life changed dramatically for the worse when I came in contact with a pedophile hunter group online.
You're here to meet an underage girl.
Well, I was just gonna sing karaoke with her. Now, I will always be seen as guilty for agreeing to meet a 15-year-old girl. It's time that the law stepped up and stopped these vigilantes.
And later...
I'm not offering it to her, but all I'm asking is you are too young to drink, right?
Did you see the FBI agent sitting there?
Yeah, let me finish.
I bet you he hasn't taken his eyes off you.
Guys, I'm either going to excuse you from here or you're going to have to hold it.
I'd just like to ask the audience...
no, you don't. Well, I'm devoting my platform today to the social media phenomenon of pedophile hunters. People like my guest today who use decoys to get suspected offenders to meet them in person only to expose them live streaming onto social media. But how does it feel to be exposed as a sex offender online, especially if, as my next guest claims, you've done nothing illegal in the first place? Take a look.
Good evening. We're hearing for the first time from a man who says a controversial vigilante group ruined his life.
My name is Peter. 3 years ago, my life changed dramatically for the worse when I came in contact with a pedophile hunter group online.
Who are you here to meet? Just so you know, you're here to meet an underage girl.
Well, I was just going to sing karaoke with her. In 2016, I went on a popular classified ad website looking in the strictly platonic section. I replied to the ad, "How about karaoke?" The person responded, "Okay, but I'm actually 15 years old." My wife was aware that I was on this site.
My husband doesn't have very many friends here. It's easier for us to go online and find somebody to have same interest. I was okay with Peter meeting a 15-year-old girl because there's no age restriction to have friends.
My wife and I ran a tutoring center for children ages 3 to 18. I'm often in the company of young people. These vigilantes destroyed my life. We lost everything. I had 20 employees and a good income. Now I deliver newspapers for a living. I will always be seen as guilty for agreeing to meet a 15-year-old girl for karaoke.
My husband is not guilty of anything. My husband just talked to her to have karaoke singing. Karaoke singing is very common in Japan.
I have done karaoke with young people often. I would like to say to these pedophile hunters, they shouldn't be making accusations. It's time that the law stepped up and stopped these vigilantes.
Okay, joining us in the audience is Peter and Akiko. So thank both of you for being here. And to be clear, it was none of these groups that interacted with you in any way.
That's correct.
So what happened, Peter?
Well, my wife and I, we owned this after-school education center. We've been doing that about 5 years. I myself have been teaching about 20 years. So, you know, have a lot of experience working with kids, working with young people. We both love kids. So there was a day in 2016, this was 3 years ago, where there was no class that day. I went online and I found an ad for somebody looking for something to do. And the specific online ad, you had to be at least 18 years old to even post an ad. So this person was claiming to be at least 18 and looking for something to do. So I sent a message to that person and said, "How about karaoke?" And the reply came back, "Yeah, the only thing is I'm actually 15, although I look 20. I didn't see there being an issue because it was only going to be karaoke. But when I went to the arranged place to meet this person, There was no 15-year-old. It was 3 of these vigilante pedophile hunters who confronted me. They had a camera. They accused me of wanting to have sex with this person. They made accusations, and then they basically posted the video on YouTube.
Now, the site you went on was, the name of the site was Strictly Platonic, right?
Yeah, well, it's Craigslist, and Strictly Platonic is the section.
That's a section of Craigslist.
Of Craigslist, yeah.
Okay, and you knew he was going on the site?
At the moment, no.
You didn't know at the moment?
No, later I knew.
And were you okay with that?
Yeah.
And so your position is they accused you of all this and exposed you.
Yes.
And so you lost your business?
Well, what happened was they contacted the head office. It's a franchise, right? And they said, you have an instructor at this center who's trying to meet up with underage girls. And so they removed me from the center. And we had our life savings in that center, so we lost everything.
Hey, guys, I'm either going to excuse you from here or you're going to have to hold it.
You ambush people and you stick a microphone in their face, and they, of course they're going to squirm, of course they're going to look guilty.
And later, you as a teacher have a responsibility to yourself to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. If I have a daughter and I pick up her phone and read this, I got a problem. Get back to today's show. I want to tell you about what we have coming up Wednesday. We're talking to Roberto and Teresa, who say their son Alex went from graduating boot camp, top of his class, to spending all of his time drinking, getting high, and violently lashing out. After an explosive confrontation that ended up in Roberto getting punched in the head and Teresa with a bloody eye, they knew help was really needed. But was everyone willing to get real? Take a look.
Alex has spat on my face. He swung at me. Even though he's done all these things, I don't want to throw Alex in the street.
I'm sure some days he doesn't drink at all. I drink every day a large bottle of wine.
I don't think Alex smokes a lot of pot.
I smoke weed every day. My parents are in denial.
You really do want to watch this. Alex and his brother Rob would get stripped naked, stood in front of a mirror, in the nude, and beat by their father. Yeah, I should point out that when they did get beat, this is when they were kids. It wasn't when they were adults. It was a corporal punishment thing. And by the way, I'm not a fan of spanking, if anybody wonders. Even though the country is split about 50-50 on that, not a fan. That's coming up Wednesday. You don't want to miss that. Okay, let's get back to today's topic. Sometimes I think it's important that you avoid impropriety.
Yes.
And then I think there are times, like when you're a teacher, for example, that you have to avoid even the appearance of impropriety.
Right.
Because then you leave yourself open to getting exploited. Because I looked at this whole exchange. It says, "Hi, Becky, it's Peter. Do you have a photo you can text me? Just want to be able to recognize you later tonight when we hang out, LOL."
Yes.
And she sends a photo. We've covered it up here. And your response was, "You are cute.
Yeah.
I have a car, by the way. Do you want me to pick you up, or would you rather get your own transportation?"
Right.
Then the decoy said, "Well, what do you drive?" Because Becky wasn't Becky. Becky was a decoy. And so you go back and forth about what you drive, pick up, don't pick up. Is she okay with you going out at night with some random strange guy? Do you have a curfew or anything? She says, "I'd be sneaking out." You said, "Ah, I see, LOL. Also, do you have a boyfriend?" She says, "No, LOL. You say, "You paused a bit before answering that question, somewhat suspicious, LOL. The response is, "No, just busy." And you respond, "If you say so, you're too young to drink, by the way, right?" I know a karaoke place that serves alcohol. They don't check for ID.
That's right. Yeah.
And the decoy says, "Oh, really? You trying to get me drunk? Hee hee." You say, "Not if you don't want to, I won't. Ha ha."
Okay, can I respond now, or do you want to keep going?
No,
okay.
no.
So
please.
we're text messaging at this point, and I'm not going into a lot of detail with these text messages. They're short sentences, right? And when I sing karaoke, I sometimes have a drink or two. So that was my plan, is I might have a drink or two, and I can't go in there with somebody who's a minor if they're checking for ID, because there's places that they won't let you in if you're a minor and it's alcohol being drunk there. So I'm not offering her. At no point did I offer her alcohol. I'm not.
Did you
saying,
make it a
hey,
point to tell her that they don't check IDs then?
Well, I knew a place. Okay.
One other thing too is,
hold on, guys. Hey, hold on. Stop talking. If I need your help, I know right where you are. Thank you very much.
Okay, my teaching history, during Music Week, we did karaoke. That was part of the curriculum. One time, I had an 18-year-old student in that group. The other students were older. Nobody drank, but alcohol was available, and they did not care about the IDs. Well, so that's what I meant when I said I know a place. I've never taken a 15-year-old before to these places, but I want to maybe have a drink or two. And I'm not offering it to her, but all I'm asking is, you are too young to drink, right? Because, you know, I use Craigslist.
Mr. Rogers, you see the FBI agent sitting there?
Yeah, let me finish.
I bet you he hasn't taken his eyes off of you.
Guys, I'm either going to excuse you from here or you're going to have to hold it. Okay?
Well, I'd just like to ask the audience.
No, you don't.
Okay, well, all right, okay, no.
A grown man meeting a 15-year-old to go sing karaoke, this does not read well.
Why didn't you just block her?
It's karaoke, for heaven's sake.
I don't think you should be talking to 15-year-olds without their parents around.
This week's $5,000 Phrase of the Day winner. Hey, Daniel, listen, I know they told you were a finalist for this, and I'm sorry to tell you that you were misinformed. You're not a finalist. You're actually the winner. You've won $5,000.
That is insane. Wow, thank you so much.
And I want to congratulate all of our college students who watched Dr. Phil and won $5,000 in the Phrase of the Day giveaway. Stay tuned for your chance to win. I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting or implying or through the gist of my questions or comments that you did anything wrong or had any larceny in your heart or anything of the sort.
Okay.
I'm saying that's a really stupid thing to say. I'm saying you as a teacher have a duty and a responsibility to yourself to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. And if I have a daughter and I pick up her phone and read this, I got a problem.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. Seriously, I mean that seriously. And I'm not here to assassinate your character, but I'm saying, you say, if you say so, you're too young to drink, by the way. I know a karaoke place that serves alcohol. They don't check ID. Oh, really? You trying to get me drunk? Not if you don't want to, I won't. Ha ha. Now, listen, you lose a lot of intonation and all in text message, etc. But a grown man meeting a 15-year-old to go sing karaoke or knit or play basketball, it on its face looks odd.
Okay.
And then to say we're going to go sing karaoke in a bar where they won't check your ID and you're talking about alcohol, even discussing it, looks really odd. If this were to be evaluated by an objective finder of fact, this would not cut in your behalf.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm saying this does not read well. Do you agree with that?
No.
You don't?
No.
This doesn't read well, does it?
Well, because you know what?
No, it doesn't, Dr. Phil. If a parent walked in with what you have in your hand and brought it to me, he would be investigated for, at the very least, attempted endangering of the welfare of a minor.
I'm not saying that nobody has a right to be concerned, but you have to understand that I'm having this conversation through text messages where you know, there's shortcuts and so on that's being made. I don't have time to write out the whole thing. I'm not a fast typer on this.
Well, I would take time.
Well, I understand. This is supposed to be a private conversation. It turned out it wasn't. So, yeah, people have a right to be concerned, and I have a right to also explain myself.
Of course, that's why I'm letting you.
Well, this is the first chance I've had to explain myself.
Why didn't you just block her?
It's karaoke, for heaven's sake.
She's 15.
Where's the...
What is so bad about singing karaoke?
Yeah, why is it illegal?
This is like culture difference, maybe.
There's nothing wrong with singing karaoke. I think the odd appearance is a grown male with a 15-year-old girl met on Craigslist and the discussion of alcohol and going into a place that she's illegal to be in, and he's going to take her somewhere that she's not legal to be.
It's not discussion of alcohol. He's saying no, right?
No.
It is.
No.
I said not if you don't want to, LOL. But the reason I said it like that is...
That's his style.
I didn't make an offer of alcohol, but she says right away, are you trying to get me drunk? Which I interpreted as a joke, because I haven't even offered alcohol. Are you trying to get me drunk? And so I answered in a joking way, not if you don't want to, LOL, but that doesn't mean that I'm trying to get her drunk.
No, what he says is, you're too young to drink, by the way. I know a karaoke place that serves alcohol. They don't check for ID.
Yes.
Which means you can go in there illegally.
Yeah, but that's not for her.
Well, wait a minute.
He knows the place that it doesn't check ID, that's all.
It's not illegal to go in there. It's illegal for a minor to drink alcohol.
And then he's
That's
drinking.
my understanding.
He's
because
drinking.
I've brought an 18-year-old into such a place.
Okay, well, why would it be worrisome about checking her ID then? Why do you need to tell her they won't check your ID?
Well, because I'm not 100% sure at this stage if she's told me the right age, because you can see on her ad that she posted that she's 18, and she posted on Craigslist where you have to be at least 18, and the question I was just going to ask the audience, which you didn't want me to, the question I was just going to ask the audience is, has anybody used Craigslist and met somebody who lied before? Lied about their age. Because that's happened to me a number of times.
That happens a lot.
So I got 15, I got 18. So I made another check to make sure. I said, the first thing I said is, you're too young to drink, right? Because what if oh, actually, no, you know, some people, I've had people pretend their age was younger or older.
Well, you would do it differently next time, right?
Well, I don't mean, I mean, now that I know about pedophile hunters or whatever, I stay away from these kinds of things. But
okay, we have to take a break. We actually spoke to Peter's decoy, and we'll tell you what they said when we come back.
Do you?
Season 18 is underway. All we need is you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. Well, Peter wants it to be made very clear that he feels he was wrongly shamed on social media by a pedophile vigilante group. We reached out to them. They had a lot to say. And I am not in support of this group in any way. I don't think they should exist. I'm not in favor of these vigilante groups. I don't think they should be doing what they're doing. I don't think it leads to diminishing this dark force in our society. I think it should be left to law enforcement. So I don't support them at all. I don't align myself with them at all. The statement from Ryan LaForge, creator of Safe Child Coalition, said, and I quote, "I was the decoy that spoke to Peter in 2016. I was posing as a 15-year-old child. There is no doubt in my mind Peter was and is a child predator. He said he wanted to go for karaoke and drinks. When I said I wasn't old enough, he said he knew a place that wouldn't check ID. That was a huge red flag. Peter has said he would sue me for defamation. I am yet to get a call from his lawyers. I have no regrets for exposing Peter. He was trying to meet with and drink alcohol with a 15-year-old child." Now, you have explained your side of that is you weren't trying to meet and drink with a 15-year-old child. You say you were just going to go sing karaoke.
I was just going to go sing karaoke. There is that one line, I admit, where I mentioned alcohol because I wanted to possibly have a drink or two. Now, Ryan LaForge, you know, I know he's in the same category as these guys here. He went online afterwards and called me a pedophile. He used the word rat pedo because we called the police on him. He was phoning our place of business over and over again. And I said, you know, this is criminal harassment if it doesn't stop. It kept coming, so we called the police, filed a police report. And then he got all mad and said he's a rat pedo. And then he referred to another place as I'm a pedophile. And then his supporters who saw this, one person calls me a molester. I'm a molester and unfaithful to my wife, is what one person said. So many people threatening violence. I should be incinerated. If I ever see this guy, I'm going to wipe that grin off his face. And they analyze the video of me in a lot of detail and say, look how guilty he looks. Look at the way he's squirming. Look at the way he's smiling. I want to wipe that smile off his face. The thing that you guys do, you ambush people, right? You're all confident. You ambush people that don't see it coming, and you stick a microphone in their face, and they, of course they're going to squirm. Of course they're going to look guilty.
Are they supposed to see it coming?
I mean, yeah.
They're hitting on children. Well,
they're not all hitting on children.
I don't think we should be doing it either. I think it should be left up to law enforcement.
I agree.
But I don't think you should be talking to 15-year-olds without their parents around.
Exactly.
I understand. I understand that.
And I'm gonna say this. I wouldn't call you a pedophile because there's a certain age for pedophiles.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have exposed you because there was no sexual chat. What I will say is you made the wrong choice that day. You didn't contact any parents. You didn't. I
can't contact her parents.
Then don't go at all. That's it. You just don't go out.
You don't go out.
Well, what they're saying is, what I'm saying is you need to avoid even the appearance of impropriety.
Yes, I understand that.
We'll be right back. Well, I'm back with Tony, Jesse, Josh, Shane. Steve has been kind enough to weigh in from a standpoint of law enforcement. And I've been talking to Peter, who feels that he has been wrongly accused and victimized. And interestingly enough, although you guys agree with me that he should avoid the appearance of impropriety, he would not have met the criteria for you guys to continue because there was no sexual talk.
Not at all. Correct. Yeah.
You wanted to make a quick point, one of which was there was an allegation from the school or from that organization that there was sexual chatter, and there absolutely was none.
Well, that's the thing, is Ryan LaForge, in his video, he said, I intended to have sex. And so I took him to court, that's pending, and I took my employer to court. They totally listened to Ryan LaForge, and they said, okay, it's sexualized communication, whatever, but there wasn't any, is my point.
Yeah, and we've seen the logs, and there was nothing sexual in there that I saw, just really bad judgment.
Right.
And a poor choice of words.
I agree.
I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I saw something on my social the other day that I've actually heard before. Peach Scone hit me up on Insta with, is it only me that thinks Dr. Phil would be an amazing cop? I don't know. I want to hear what all of y'all think. I have great admiration for all law enforcement. It's been said that I bleed blue, and I am not ashamed to say that's true. We'll see you next time.